All right. Welcome into 2023, everybody. Good to have you here with us today. Bear with me just a second. I'm going to get my comments thing loaded up over here on the right so that I can see what you all are saying. That way I know if anyone's actually listening, Oh, goodness. I feel like my voice is out of shape. Like, I was coughing a lot during the show, and my voice feels all scratchy right now. I don't know what the deal is. Maybe I'm just not used to talking. So let's do it for another hour. That's kind of how I roll. Like, wow, it kind of hurts when I bend my knee that way. Maybe I should go run 5 miles. I'm sure it's fine. Yeah, it'll be great. It'll be great. All right, so we're gonna give everybody a quick, yeah. Do I own a drone? No. My son owns a drone now, and oh my gosh, it is amazing. This drone, like we bought like a real one. Like this is like not like the little kid like Amazon $30 drone. This was like a drone's drone, and I got it from my son. And my hope was that the two of us could do it together because I'm really excited about it. And it's cool because it's something that we can do together, and it's a really nice piece of technology. So it's impressive to him as well at 16. So it's something that we can all kind of come together around. So we went and flew it a couple times, and I told him, hey, you figure out how it works because it's your drone, and you can show me how it works then because I don't want to take the time to learn. You just learn how to do it. And so he learned how to take it off and bring it home and everything else. And when you see this tiny little drone, it's like, you could hold it in the palm of your hand, and then it just like shoots off into the air. It goes like 40 miles an hour. The thing with drones, the way that the rules work is you have to maintain visual contact with your drone at all times. So while the technology is there to control the drone much further than you could possibly see it, the software has limitations built in. So for example, if we ascend to over 100 meters, you're capped at 100 meters, 99 meters of altitude, because you can't see the drone. There's no way a human being could see the drone higher than that. So therefore, they cap it. And then we said, okay, let's see. The thing has a range of like 18 kilometers on a single charge. So of course, my first thought was maybe we could strap something to it and fly it between the service centers, right? No, you can't, because you can't see the service centers from each other. So therefore, the drone would hit its distance, and it cuts the connection with the transmitter. It has a return home function, so it'll come back, but you lose connection with the drone basically if you go too far. So we went and found this flat high school parking lot, and we said we're going to fly it. We flew it all the way, like 3 or 4 neighborhoods across to his buddy's house, and hovered it outside his house. And he texted me, he says, "Bro, come outside." So he comes outside. He's looking around like, what? Where's Jacob? He texted me, and then all of a sudden this drone just. It was so funny. And then he was like, hold on. And he runs in and he gets his dad, and he brings his dad out, and his dad's waving at the drone. And it was funny in a creepy way. So yes, we own a drone now. And this drone is amazing. Like the stability, piloting it, you don't have to think about like orientation or stuff. It does almost all that for you. Now, we didn't want my 4-year-old son to feel left out. So we got him like the Sharper Image indoor drone, the $50 drone, which that one, Dad's kind of learned to fly that one too, because, there's nothing more fun when your 16-year-old son is playing VR with a headset on, flying a drone around him. It's actually quite humorous because accidents happen. People get hit. Not my fault. It's just this Sharper Image piece of junk drone. If I was flying the real drone down here, that'd be different. It's got collision avoidance. This thing, fly it right into your face. Wow, sorry about that. But and of course, my 4-year-old thinks that's hilarious. So we just keep doing it. Everybody thought it was hilarious, actually. But so now I'm learning how to fly that thing, and that thing you have to pay attention to your yaw. You have to change the direction it's facing. You can fly it backwards and sideways. Literally, it's a way more mentally challenging flight because you have to be aware of the orientation of every aspect of the drone. Whereas the DJI drone, you just point it, you tell it where you want it to go, and you hit forward, and it just does it. You don't. If there's something in the way, it'll go around it. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. In fact, funny thing, my wife showed me a picture last night. There's a guy in Queensland who was flying his drone around, and he lost it. Basically, he said he was just flying around. He was just taking pictures of clouds and stuff, and sunsets, which sunsets are amazing from the drone. Like we flew it up real high up, and sunset's pretty early right now. And yeah, it was beautiful. I mean, it was beautiful from the ground, but from the drone, it was amazing because you have the whole landscape and everything. It was phenomenal. So anyway, this guy in Queensland is flying his drone. He goes, I'm just flying around taking pictures of clouds, and then there's an impact on the drone. Something hits it. And the last image that the camera sends down is an eagle, like lording over the camera, this big beak, like, And that was the last they ever saw. After that, the camera lost its connection. It was like the eagle just killed it. So, yes, birds will go after your drone, apparently, as a prey and assault it. So, yes, I do have a drone now. So thank you for that question, Ronald. That was quick, too. That was right off the bat there. Good morning, Heidi. Steve, good to have you. Mary, welcome. Hello, Mark. I don't look any older than when I saw you last year. Yeah, I was like, I don't know what it was. I was thinking about this, and I was like, man, I'm going to be 47 next year. That's almost 50, and 50 is like a half a century. I remember when people used to say, you're so young to own such a large company. They don't say that anymore, and my company's bigger. They don't say it anymore. I'm like, oh, I'm getting old. So I'll have to do some things to make me feel young, like, fly drones at my son's crotch. That makes you feel like a kid again, All right, let's see here. Greetings and salutations, Aaron. Richard's here. Good to have you. Yes, Aaron. The drone does come back automatically. So if you lose the video connection, because it's got a video connection on the transmitter unit or whatever, the remote control. You can lose the video connection. When you lose line of sight, you lose video, and so you can still have RC control of the drone. So you could still be flying it forward, but you just don't know because you can't see anything and you can't see the drone, so you have no line of sight. So most people with a $700 drone, they just push the come home now button. The drone ascends to 99 meters and then flies directly back to where it took off from, and it lands within like 2 feet of where it took off from, all by itself. Like, you don't have to land it, it just lands, boop, and sets itself down nice and gentle. It is just an amazing piece of technology. Like, 5 years ago, I would not have thought that this piece of technology was technologically something that a citizen could own. This would be like military tech. Like, literally, it is that nice. And it was $700, which is expensive, but for something that can film full 4K video, cinematic 4K video, and fly 18 kilometers on a charge at 40 miles an hour in a 10 mile an hour headwind while holding station if you wanted to, it's inexpensive for what it can do. Let's put it that way. I did not buy the robot dog. No, I don't know if I've talked about the robot dog on here before, but all right. So there's this company called Unitree. It's a Chinese company. They make robot dogs. I'm pretty sure they just stole the tech from Boston Dynamic. But it's like the Boston Dynamic dog, except it's like a corgi, right? It's a little dog, and it can kind of run alongside you, and it can do little beggy things, and it can do tricks and stuff. It doesn't really have any logical, real purpose in life aside from being a PR instrument, which is how I was thinking about using it. My wife could get her Cricut out, we could cut some Schrock logos out and slap it on the side of the robot dog, and I just go into the service center and the thing will follow you, right? So I just let it follow me around. So I go out to help a customer and my robot dog comes out behind me. Or maybe the robot dog sits out front, and you can't really program it to do anything unless you buy the educator model, and then you have to write code to program how to do it, for it to do different things. But the drone or the dog is like $8,000 or something, and it's like, okay, for $3,000, it's definitely an attention getter. So if you were doing a trade show or something, I could see this being like the hit of the trade show. But to $3,000 for something that'll freak people out while it walks along behind you, because I mean, people are weirdly, even though it's the size of a corgi, people are like freaked out by this robot. There's videos of people taking it into an office and people just screaming like, ah, like it has a giant gun or something, but it can only carry like 5 kilograms, which is not even a gallon of milk. So I mean, you could suppose you could put a Nerf gun on it. That would be interesting. But yeah. So anyway, I did not get the robot dog. I thought about it, but I did not get it. My wife got me the folding phone for Christmas, the one I wasn't going to buy myself, because I didn't need it, because there was nothing wrong with my phone. My phone was fine. This phone, from technical specifications, is pretty much the same as my phone, my old phone. But it opens up into a great big screen that I can watch stuff on and do things and read stories on and things. And I didn't think I would use it as much as I do, but I'm getting to know it pretty well. I'm kind of liking it. So that was my big Christmas gift that I got. So it was my new phone. Oh, let's see. I hope all of you guys had good Christmases, Happy New Year's, and I hope everybody is healthy. Aaron, I hope you're out of the rehab facility. I laugh. I mean, I genuinely hope you're out, but we talk about it here a lot in the chat. So I hope you're doing good. Alrighty. Let's see here. What make and model of drone? It was the DJI. Oh my gosh, micro. Gosh, I'm gonna have to look it up. DJI website. Sorry, bear with me just a second, and I'll pull it up for you. It was not the really expensive ones. There you could get some really crazy ones. It was the DJI Mini 3. No, the Mini 3 Pro, I think. It is a just phenomenal piece of tech. I would highly recommend it if it's something you were interested in doing. This is going to be something that we take with us on vacations, so that when we go places, if we're on the beach or something, and we want to take a shot of the beach, you can send this drone up and take video. You can put it in follow mode; it'll follow you down the beach and take video of you walking down the beach as a family. I mean, there's tons of stupid little things like that you're just like, this could be literally. My wife said there's a guy that she watches that has an RV channel, and there's all kinds of shots of them driving their RV through winding hills, and he just puts the drone in follow mode, and they just go slow. They go 40 miles an hour, and the drone just follows them around the curves. And he's got all these amazing shots with these backdrops of nature with them in their RV going through them, and they use them as covers on their YouTube channel. So I mean, there's lots of things you can do with one of these drones. That is, if you're of a creative mindset, if you're somebody that creates things for a living, this is an amazing tool. And if you're not, it's just fun to fly. Let's see. Countries working on small killer drones. Yeah, they are. Everything will become a killer something, right? I mean, killer robot dog, killer robot drones, they're all the same, right? There was actually a video. The one I was looking at is called the Unitree Go something. I want to say Go Pro, but it wasn't Go. iGo or something. Anyway, and there was a video online of somebody who literally mounted a rifle on the back of the dog because why not? And the dog, it's basically like an AR-15 mounted on top of the dog, and it's got its own. The optic system is. There's a guy controlling the whole thing, right? There's a guy controlling the dog. There's a guy controlling the gun. The dog is not shooting the gun. Okay. The recoil from if you've ever shot an AR-15, they recoil, but it's not. It's like a 22, right? It's not significant. It's bigger than a 22, but it's not going to hurt your shoulder. Not that kind of recoil, right? My neighbor was like, "Hey, we got to shoot big guns the other day. We shot AR-15s." And my son's like, "Yeah, I shot a Browning machine gun this year." And he was like, "What's that?" He showed him the shell. And he was like, "You shot a big gun. You're a big AR-15." My wife's like, "I have an AR-15 in the basement." He's like, "No, you don't. Like, you don't have an AR-15. But so basically they strap an AR-15 on this robot dog, and he shoots it. And the dog from the recoil is like stumbling back from each shot. I mean, it's completely not a weapons platform. There's no reason to be scared of the robot corgi. But people are just creeped out by the robot dog and how well it moves and how it can appear to interact with you as a human. There's a guy on the controller, obviously, controlling it, but it can appear, it's like, the lady that was doing the video, she's like, you want to tell it good dog and pet it when it does things, but it's just weird because it's a robot. You know it's a robot. Your brain knows it's a robot, but it's doing cute little dog things, and you're like, oh, good dog. It's just not a dog. Weird. All right. Compared to me, you're still young. Well, thank you, Stephen. I appreciate that. It's kind of like if you want to feel thin, you hang out with people bigger than you. Uh, let's see. The 50s aren't that bad. Well, still kind of sucks, though. It's one of those things where you start to take things a little more seriously, right? Because it's like when you're younger and you're invincible, wow, you don't think about time, and you don't think about experiences, and you don't think about the mark that you're leaving on the world, and the big concept things. You just think about what you're going to do on Friday night, right? And as you get older, you think about these things a little bit more. And I remember when I realized I was not invincible was when I lost my hearing in my left ear, which sounds like a stupid thing, but literally when I was like 17, 18 years old, I got an ear infection. I lost 40% of the hearing in my left ear. I've got a constant ringing in that ear. It's been that way. When it happened, like, it was weird. I haven't thought about this in a long time. I was telling my wife about it yesterday, but my balance was off. And she's like, your balance? I'm like, yeah, like I couldn't walk in a straight line for like a day. My directional hearing, people at school made such fun of me. They'd get on my bad side and say, hey, Thor, and I would look the wrong way and say, what? Because it was coming in stronger in my right ear than my left ear, and my brain hadn't rewired and adjusted to that yet. And then here yesterday, I don't know, my daughter woke up. I had to lay with her to put her back down to bed, and I'd kind of read to the end of the internet already, right? I knew about all the compromises that Speaker McCarthy had made. I knew about all the reasons that the 5 times in NFL history that there's been a player that's had to be carried off the field from a major medical event. 4 of those 5 were spinal injuries. 1 was a heart attack in 1971, a 28-year-old guy. 4 of them happened on the same field. Just saying, haunted or something, I don't know. So yeah, it certainly wasn't the vaccine. No, it was just coincidental that this perfectly fit, 20-something-year-old kid who got CPR and didn't have oxygen for 9 minutes is now making a recovery, who's awake and talking now because his body was just in that good of shape. This would have killed most people. I'm sure it was just natural. Some natural heart defect he probably didn't know he had. I'm sure. So anyway, I'd read to the end of the internet. I hit the end, and I don't know what made me think about my ear. It's probably because I was sitting in a quiet room, and that's when it's the worst. When you're in a quiet space, you realize you haven't heard silence since you were 17, because you're sitting in a quiet space and all you hear is that ringing. So I Googled, started going down the rabbit hole, figuring out, is there any kind of new cutting-edge medical treatment coming, blah, blah, blah. And sure enough, there is a drug right now. This is going to get a lot of people excited because this drug is in phase 2B clinical trial. The phase 2 trial was supposed to have ended on the 6th of January, so 2 days ago. But this drug, it causes so the reason that most people have nerve deafness, the tinnitus, the ringing, all that stuff, is the little hair follicles that transmit the sound in the inner ear that mechanically change sound waves into like the mechanical vibrations. They're broken, they're dead. So in my case, I got an ear infection that killed a bunch of them really fast. Other people listened to loud rock concerts and they damaged them over time, or headphones or whatever. A lot of people in radio have this problem. So this new drug that is successfully working in phase 2 trials is causing you to regrow those nerve endings, those little nerve hairs that can process sound and mechanically create it. So basically what they found is in a mammalian ear, once the ear is fully mature, these hairs don't come back. Like they don't regrow, they don't regenerate. But while the ear is forming, they are generating. So there's a switch somewhere that gets flipped that turns off the ability for these things to regenerate. And what this drug has done is it's found that switch and basically turns it back on. And so and then they turn it off again later with an antibiotic or something. They don't give you all the details about how it works, but this drug is actually something that has been in development for years, and it's got to go through phase 3, which I don't know what phase 3 is. Phase it's in human trials right now. Phase 2B, they're doing quadruple blind human trials. I don't know how they do. I've heard of double blind. I don't know what quadruple blind means. I'm not a medical person, but the study basically they're doing. I was trying to read it, and then I was like, okay, I'm not getting anything from this, and my eyes are starting to blur. Even on my big screen, my eyes are starting to blur. But basically, long story short, they got to go through the third phase, whatever that is, and then they can hopefully get FDA approval to get this drug on the market. This would be the first and only drug ever to restore lost hearing. The impact this drug could have. Think about how a company like a hearing aid company would react to a drug like this. Because what a hearing aid does, so hearing aids don't work for me. Well, they can help, but basically the trouble that I have is when I get into an environment with noise, I have trouble separating background noise from conversation in my left ear. So when you're talking to me, especially in a crowded room, you'll often see me sitting like, yeah. And it's weird. You think I'm like leaning in and then giving you the eyeball or something. No, it's because I'm using this ear to tune you, because like this, I'm missing half of what you're saying. I hear you talking, I hear like this, but I don't know the words are exactly. That's kind of what it sounds like in my left ear. So it's enough there that I still put the earbud in because I get tone, and especially lower tones, I can hear those fine, but it's those upper tones that are missing, and those are what help you discern conversation. So that is the majority of people with hearing loss. They say that it's not the loss of the ability to hear things that's troubling to them. It's the loss of the ability to understand conversation that's bothering them. And this drug specifically is targeted toward restoring your ability to perceive conversation. It's just amazing some of the stuff that's coming. Now, my wife, what are the side effects? Because, it's not like there have been any other drugs recently that have had unintended consequences, right? So what are the side effects? I don't know. I don't know what the side effects are. They're doing studies, I guess. I have no idea that they'll even tell us what they are once they're out. But they inject it into your ear, so it's got to feel real pleasant. But, boy, I have to tell you, I was like, how do I get into that program? Like, I want to be a guinea pig. But anyway, so for those of you out there who have similar hearing loss, know that there is a drug on the horizon. Oh, and I knew I should probably have kept. Maybe I kept it open on my phone. Hold on a second. I think it was the last thing I looked at last night before I went to bed. What's the name of the company? Come on. No, it's not the Free Detroit Press. I know that for sure. Here we go. FX-322. The company. Oh, come on. Is that not it? Hold on, I'm going backwards through my searching now, and everything I'm opening is telling me, oh, you closed that tab. So FX-232 is the drug trial that's going on. Gosh, I can't remember the name of that company now. It's going to really bug me. Did I open it in Firefox? No, I didn't. I opened it in Duck so that I wouldn't get tracked, and then I can't find what I looked for. Hearing restore drug trial. Let's see if I can just find it real quick here. Yeah, it was an MIT thing. Oh, I can't find the name of the company now. Anyway, dig down deep, you'll find it. It's MIT tech that is being purposed into an actual drug. So pretty crazy stuff that we're getting here in the new year. Happy New Year from Seattle. Do you think the Southwest airline problem could have been a ransomware attack? No, actually, I think the Southwest problem was that literally they have not invested in new software in so long that their software broke. Now, let me give you an example of what would happen in this situation. So the last 2 weeks have been very stressful because the tech wizard, the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain, that makes all the Schrock stuff work, that makes the whole Schrock world go round, who is double vaccinated, scaring the shit out of me because he's 42 years old. He's right in the age group. Like, you cannot die of a heart attack because we would be screwed. Because without him, we can't process a credit card. Without him, we can't create a work order. Without him, I can't tell you when your Sophos is expiring. Because his name is Alfonso, and he makes everything happen at Schrock. He's been on vacation for the last 2 weeks. Systems have been working well. We just did a bunch of server upgrades, so your experience at the Schrock website should be a lot faster than it was before. We put a brand new server in place, moved everything over, and then took a vacation. Well, there's some mysterious process that's filling up the hard drive on the server. And so I'm getting alerts. It started yesterday. Yesterday morning, he's on a plane, and it said, warning, your server is 5% available hard drive space. What? You gotta be kidding me. 5%? We increased the size of the hard drives. We didn't add anything more. That's odd. So I send the message to Alfonso. I know you're on a plane right now. I know you're going to be buried when you get back, but put this at the top of your to-do list. There's something going on with the server. The hard drive's getting full. 6 hours later, he hasn't read the message yet. So because I know he's on a plane, right? I get a new message from the server saying 3.68% available. I'm like, it dropped like 2% in 6 hours. You do the quick math there. Alfonso, when are you landing? The server could go down in a few hours. we need you to fix the hard drive thing. And, he turned it off and on again, and it was fine. Temp files, I don't know what it was. So he's going to keep an eye on it. But that's stressful stuff when you got somebody that makes everything work like that. Ronald says, Thor, the secret to staying young, I'm 73 with a 13-year-old boy and 11-year-old girl. You have to stay on to keep up with them. There is some truth to that. I have a 4-year-old, and so I've done I remember when we adopted Lou, and I said, honey, I'm gonna be Grandpa Daddy. Like, when he is 16, let me do the quick math here. He's 4 now, so when he's 16, that's 12 years from now. And right now, I'll be 47 this year. I'm going to be 60 years old when this boy is 16. Say what? And she said, you idiot, you're always going to be Grandpa Daddy. As soon as one of your kids has a kid, you're Grandpa Daddy. And I'm like, why are you so logical? Oh, goodness. Let's see. I did call your Omaha store to confirm that Sophos can't be installed on my Kindle. Oh, that's a good point. I did load a free antivirus called Dr. Web. I keep Wi-Fi on, download books. The Kindle... So here's the situation. Any computer can be hacked. And I have never considered putting Sophos on a Kindle before. Because a Kindle is technically an Android tablet that has a custom operating system layered on it. And so that custom operating system dictates what apps can be installed. So you can't just go to the Google Store and install apps because it's not an Android operating system anymore. It's a Kindle operating system built based on Android. So the computing power available to a Kindle is by design very weak because it's an ebook reader. That's what it's for. So I don't know of anyone ever attacking Kindles, ever. Now, it would be a really ingenious attack because no one would expect it. I don't think you have to worry too much about your Kindle getting hacked. I've never seen that before. Now, granted, there was a time when cell phones didn't get hacked either, so that doesn't mean it'll never happen. But right now, I don't think that's a huge concern. I don't think you have to be too worried about it. Oh, let's see. Erin says she's still trapped in physical rehab. Bit of a sore point with me right now. No pun intended. Ah, sore point. Yeah. For a place with rehab in the name, there isn't much rehab happening. Oh my gosh, Erin. Yeah, I have an uncle that's going to be going into a short-term care facility. He's getting discharged from the hospital, and it's the same thing. It's like I hear what you're saying. You just got to. They tried to discharge him home first, and we're like, no, he's not ready. And he said, I'm not ready. And they discharged him anyway, and he rebounded within a week back into the hospital again. So this time they're going to actually discharge him to a short-term care facility where he'll be able to get the rehab that he actually needs. He's dropped like 30 pounds of water in 3 weeks. Water? 30 pounds of water weight. 30 pounds of water, as opposed to the, water, not water, water. 30 pounds of water weight in 3 weeks. That's 3 gallons of water. Could you imagine I tried to. I was like, it's like you had 3-gallon jugs on your belt full of water that you were just walking around with all the time and wondering why your legs were tired. It's like, and it was all like around his knees and stuff, so they weren't bending right and things like that. So they're actually doing some rehab with him. But I hear what you're saying. When you're in a rehab facility, you can't get. It doesn't feel like you can get out quick enough. Alrighty. I have a 50 cal Desert Eagle pistol. Oh my gosh, that would be fun. Each round costs $250. That's when we shot the Browning 50. They like, you get 25 rounds for what you paid, And so my son got up there, and we each had our belt. There was, I don't know, 60 rounds or something. I don't know how he got 25 and I got 20, right? So he got up there and he was like, bop, 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 bop. And he was on target. Like the guys that were running it now, it could have just been that they are very good at their job, right? Wow, you inexperienced gunner, it's amazing that you're doing so good. Like most people who get up here are all over the mountain. But then, they're telling me privately, like, no, like most people when they get up there, we're like, shoot the car on the side of the mountain. And they're like, blah, 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 they're all over the place, like waving the gun around like, like a jihadi or something. But no, Jacob was firing in controlled bursts and hitting the car. He was holding the car. Bop, 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 bop. And they're like, if you ever go in the military, you need to be a machine gunner. I was like, oh gosh. But he had so much fun doing it that I had my belt it was his birthday trip that we were on. And I had my belt of 20, and I was like, I've never shot a 50 cal Browning before. Never shot a machine gun before that. We got to shoot I got to shoot a Tommy gun later that day. That was fun. And I was like, here you go, kiddo. You shoot. He goes, I'm not going to take your ammo, Dad. And I was like, I'm having fun watching you have fun. You go shoot it. And he did. Oh, he did. So yeah, $250 a round, I believe it. He kept one of the shells too. That's a just giant shell. Oh, let's see. 17-year-old on their smartphone driving is more dangerous than any robotic dog. Yeah, you can't. You trip over the dog, you can recover pretty easily. Bob, I own leisure suits older than you. I don't think I've ever actually seen a person, like a live person in a leisure suit in my life. Like, I've seen leisure suits on TV, of course. I don't think I've ever actually seen a person wearing a leisure suit. Oh, let's see. Yeah, tinnitus is not fun, Aaron. Yeah, they told me that the hearing aid might help a little bit, but all it did was give me a headache all the time because it was so loud. It was just like it was amplifying everything so loud. And then, of course, they turned it down, but then it wouldn't do any good. But you know what was really fun to do was to take the hearing aid. It was one of those in-ear ones. To take it out and put it in my good ear, and it gave you like hyper hearing. Like if you clicked your mouse, you could hear click click. Like you could hear everything. I'm sure it was completely not good for my right ear, but it was really fun to do when I'm a dumb kid, right? When I'm invincible, which I'm not anymore. No, it's not Pfizer or Moderna. It was some. Now, see, I got to figure this out. All right, so let's search this. MIT. No, don't do that. Regenerate inner ear hair cells medical trial. Let's try that. Let's see. Come on, where are you at? And there's a Bosley ad because, of course I'm looking for hair regeneration, so Bosley would come up. All right, so here's the MIT news, March 29th. Here it is. The biotechnology company Frequency Therapeutics is seeking to reverse hearing loss, not with hearing aids or implants, with a new kind of regenerative therapy. The company uses small molecules to program progenitor cells, a descendant of stem cells in the inner ear, to create the tiny hair cells that allow us to hear. So then if you do a search for Frequency Therapeutics, you can find their website. It's frequencytx.com. And they've got 3 drugs in trial right now. 2 drugs in trial and 1 MS drug that's not in trial yet. So if you go to their pipeline, you can click on the pipeline for drugs. And we have FX322-208 Phase 2B study. And if you click on the plus, it was for double-blind, placebo-controlled, multi-center study designed to evaluate the efficacy of FX322 individuals with noise-induced and sudden SNHL, so hearing loss, like what I have, aged 18 to 65, my age group. So, wow. There's also another study that's going on that is in phase 1B that is 18 to 67 years old. And it's a slightly different drug, but this is adult onset acquired SNHL. So, in other words, you had great hearing in your adult life at some point. Some people, I guess, just wake up and can't hear. Like, could you imagine how scary that would be? You just wake up one morning and your hearing's gone? And that's what this is supposed to treat eventually. Yes. Aaron, I just did all that searching. All I had to do was scroll down. Aaron already had it for me. Thank you, Aaron. Oh, let's see here. Let's see. Windows 11, it appears drag and drop has been turned off. At least the copy function's gone. It's not gone. They made them those stupid little icons now. So if you right-click on something that you want to copy, for example, you right-click on it. There's not a copy option like there used to be. There's a series of icons across the top of they call it the context menu. The first one is a pair of scissors. That's cut. The next one is 2 pages on top of each other. That's copy. You click on that, it'll copy it. Then the third one is rename, and the fourth one is share. Once you have something copied, then if you right-click again, you'll have a clipboard with a piece of paper on it, and that's your paste function. Paste is not visible until you have copied something. But it's the icons across the top now. Oh, let's see. They're removing all the illegals from El Paso streets in prep for Biden's visit today. All right, so yeah. What did you guys think about this House Speaker thing? The underdog in me wanted to root against McCarthy. I don't know anything about McCarthy. I don't know what kind of man he is or why these people don't like him or if, whatever. I don't know anything about him. Does he cry as much as John Boehner did? I don't know. So the underdog in me was like, yeah, these 20 rebels, go baby. I always want to root for the underdog. I don't know why. It's an American thing. Then the other part of me was kind of surprised and shocked and a little disappointed, but with how other Republicans reacted to this. So the storyline that you heard in the media, in the mass media, was that the 90% majority of the Republican caucus wants to have McCarthy as Speaker. There are 20 individuals, these rebels, that are holding out because they have personal disagreements with McCarthy or they're trying to get gavels for themselves on committees that they haven't rightfully earned through the seniority process. That was Don Bacon's beef. Don Bacon was very outspoken about his disdain for these people, which kind of shocked me a little bit. I didn't expect Don Bacon to really attack other Republicans like that. It disappointed me, quite honestly. But for what it's worth, my disappointment, what does he care? But rebels. So they're like Confederates now? Are they like racists? Are they trash? Are they scum? What were they fighting for anyway? And that was what the question I kept coming back to is, why are these 20 people doing this? Because there is a political cost to what they're doing. Why are they doing this? Politicians don't expend political capital without some kind of a payout, some kind of a benefit. So why? What is happening here? There's a number of things that are happening. So those of you listening might be old enough. Some of you are older than me even. You might remember back when the United States actually had a budget. Now, they may not have followed the budget, but they had a budget. We haven't had a budget since 9/11. I mean, the omnibus spending bills is how we've been funding government since 9/11. Cover everything we covered before, add a whole lot more, there's your spending bill. Go. And it's take it or leave it. It's a giant spending bill. No amendments. We don't need amendments. We don't need, Your opportunity to get your pork in was when we wrote the bill behind closed doors with our small group of people from the Speaker's office. And that's what Republicans didn't want to have happen. They didn't want to have the Republican version of Nancy Pelosi come into office, have all this power because the House has been run this way. The Republicans took the House back briefly, if you remember, from Nancy Pelosi, and they ran it the exact same way as Nancy Pelosi did. And these 20 Republicans didn't want to see that. They wanted to see a normal budget process where individual bills are brought to the floor to be considered to be funded individually. So, do you want 80,000 more IRS agents? Here's the bill to fund them. And then there can be amendments to the bill. And then the bill goes to the Senate, and the Senate considers it. And then they might amend it and send it back to the House. And then the House and the Senate get together. They have a conference committee where there's some senators and some Congress people. And they get together and they make an agreement, like this is how it's going to be, and then the bill goes through. And that's how government works. Now, granted, the Senate is run by Democrats, the House is run by Republicans, so there probably won't be a whole lot of agreement on a lot of things, right? But here's the thing. All spending comes from the House of Representatives. The federal government cannot spend a dime that is not authorized by the House of Representatives. So at some point, the Senate is going to have to play ball with the House of Representatives, or the government's going to shut down. And that's what this was all about. This was the first battle of the government shutdown that's going to happen. So the ground rules that were put in place. One Republican can move to vacate the chair. And if that happens, everything goes back to the way it was before. We're doing speaker race all over again. There's 20 holdouts. Nothing can happen in the House of Representatives because we don't have a speaker. Complete shutdown. One Republican can do that now. Number two, we want an agreement that individual bills will be brought forward that are individually germane to the topic that they are being funded for. No more omnibus. We want budget process back. Okay. Number three, the Texas border plan will be implemented and funded. And we will enforce the laws that are on the books in this country for immigration. Number four, there's going to be a committee, they're calling it like the church committee. Basically, they want a committee that is going to be chaired by one of these rebels that is going to be responsible for investigating all the deep state crap that's happened over the last 20 years. Will they get anywhere with it? Who the heck knows? But there's going to be a committee, and there are going to be questions asked, and there's going to be uncomfortable questions asked. And you can't do as much crap as the federal government has done in the last 20 years and expect to walk away unscathed. So something's going to come of it. I don't know that anyone's heads are going to roll or anything, but something will come of it. Maybe it'll stop, or maybe it'll be a little harder in the future to do some of these things that they did. Suppressing social media content, forcing COVID vaccines on the military people, that whole thing. You can't force a vaccine, an experimental vaccine on military people. It's against the law. So you can't force an experimental vaccine on military people if there is an approved vaccine available. Okay? So they created an approved vaccine so they could say that this is an FDA approved vaccine. But the vaccine that was FDA approved was not technically available. Therefore, the emergency use authorization vaccine, the experimental vaccine, can be used in its stead. That's how they got around it. And now they've dropped the military requirement for the active duty military, but now they're saying that it does not apply to National Guard and reservists, that they still have to be vaccinated if they don't want to be. And you wonder why your recruitment numbers are down. So all this stuff that's going on behind the scenes, from the Twitter files to the vaccine stuff to the COVID lockdowns to the all the kickbacks and the Sam Bankman-Fried money and the Zuckerbucks and all the stuff that happened, all these things that everyone's forgotten about, are all going to come back to light in this committee now. There's going to be an actual inquiry into January 6th. Did you hear that Ashley Bobbitt's mother got arrested this week in D.C. for jaywalking? She was in a protest. She must have crossed the street at the wrong spot. They arrested her for jaywalking. You killed her daughter, it's like now you can arrest her for jaywalking. And now it's coming out, for example, that the guy that shot Ashley Babbitt, the U.S. government spent tens of thousands of dollars to house this guy and his family after the event on military bases because there was no safe place for him to be. You think? And then some of these people are still in prison. They haven't even had a trial. They're not even charged with anything, and they're still in prison. How? I don't understand. That this committee is going to sort through a lot of that and get to the. So they wanted that. If these things don't happen, they'll move to vacate the chair. When the money for the federal government runs out and they hit the debt ceiling, they want no increase to the debt ceiling. That was one of the 5 conditions. This was the first battle of the government shutdown. And Republicans always find some way to get blamed for the government shutdown. So, boy, this time around, have your budget ready. Have it be a responsible budget. Put it in front of the American people. Get the American people behind it. And then send it to the Senate and let the Senate say, no soup for you. This budget doesn't spend nearly enough money for our, progressive policies or whatever. But the government is going to shut down. So be ready for that, guys. Just keep that in the back of your mind. At the end of the fiscal year, we are going to probably see some kind of government shutdown, just because even if the quote-unquote rhino Republicans want to avoid the shutdown for whatever political reason, all it takes is one Republican to vacate the chair. And if they vacate the chair, they stop the whole train until they elect a new speaker. And guess what the condition of the new speaker's election is going to be? So Republicans, Don Bacon said that he would vote with Democrats if they couldn't resolve the speaker impasse. So could we see someone like a Nebraska senator or a Nebraska congressman vote with an opposing party against the will of the people that elected him in order to facilitate a political outcome that he feels is fair to the people who were elected to office? Because that's what this was about for Don Bacon, was that people who have been here longer have seniority, and we should get what we worked for. And you can't come in here as a rebel and say, if you don't give me this, I'm going to blow up the whole system and demand and make demands, because that's not cool. You can't do that. So this, for Don Bacon, apparently wasn't about electing a speaker to move forward the business of the country. This was about, it was exactly, this is the thing, when you hear Democrats, telling somebody else that they're racist or that they're bigots or that they're whatever, a lot of times, if you really look deep enough, those things are true about the people that are saying it. And here we learn it's not necessarily a Democrat thing, right? It was all about gavels. It was all about gavels for the people voting for McCarthy, like Don Bacon. So it was a really interesting range of emotions, right? You were seeing Republicans standing on principle against political pressure. That's a good thing. You were seeing Republicans fighting to protect systemic power for themselves, which was also enlightening. The Democrats didn't really have anything to do with it, so this is all the Republicans' show. And we got to learn a whole lot about the character of the individual people that we elected. And I have to tell you, I think my vote's going to be a little bit different next time, because I was not impressed. But I'm just one vote, so I get my say. That's it. I wonder how many ex-politicians are planning to leave the USA. Oh, no, Ronald, they would never leave. They would never leave the U.S. They'd become lobbyists. That's how you get paid the big bucks. The debt limit has to be raised this spring. Big first test for the House. Ronald. That's what I'm saying. They're saying they're not going to raise it. That was one of the conditions of electing McCarthy. We're not going to raise the debt ceiling. So that means they're going to have to cut, which means they're going to have a budget, which means they're going to have to pass a budget, which the Senate's not going to cut. So we're going to have a shutdown. That's what's going to happen. Let's see. Yeah, so I don't. And that's the thing. That was the other thing that was really surprising to me. Okay, in the middle of this process, let's say, because I'm sure McCarthy is fully vaccinated, let's say he suffered the number one cause of death for males in his age group last year, which was died suddenly. Let's just say he died suddenly. Who would the speaker be? Literally, like, it was like, we have to have McCarthy or there is no other option available. Like, got a smattering of votes for Jim Jordan and a smattering of votes over here, and there's that one crazy lady that thinks Donald Trump should be in there, you know. And then Donald Trump's photo, you see that Photoshop of Donald Trump put out of himself like this? It was pretty funny. As Speaker of the House, he was just sitting up there like, yeah. But what happens if McCarthy died suddenly? Who would the speaker be? Somebody would be the speaker. Who was the plan B? There was a plan B. Who was the plan B? You never heard about that. It was one of those questions I asked myself, and I was just like, if something happened to him, like, who would step in? Like, what would happen here? Would Don Bacon lose his gavel? You know, what would happen here? I don't know. All right. So I've got to wrap it up here, guys. We've got about an hour here, but I want to give last call for questions. Anything you guys want to talk about specifically? Oh, yeah. There's a couple things that I posted about that I should talk about because they were like in the post about the show. We are working on developing a new application that can run on your computer. So we're calling it an app, but it's not an app for a phone. Sometimes that gets people confused. It's a program that runs on your computer. Right now it'll be, first we're going to build it for PC, then eventually Mac, then eventually phone apps as well. But this is the I don't know, the next generation of the software that you know as Drive Advisor and Secure Updater. We have new functionality for Drive Advisor that we want to introduce called Battery Advisor. But there are some nagging issues with Drive Advisor. Sometimes certain hard drives can't be detected because of various issues. eMMC drives have trouble getting detected. So really cheap computers have hard drives that can't be detected. Or really expensive computers with really, really high-end NVMe hard drives sometimes have trouble being detected. RAID devices can't be detected at all. It doesn't detect as being a hard drive present at all. So there are some little issues that the program quits sometimes for no apparent reason. It just quits. It's been that way since day one. Just, you have to relaunch it, you reboot the computer, it comes up, right? So Drive Advisor is the program that we make that's free that allows you to track your hard drive's health. And we have Battery Advisor that we want to include in that to track laptop battery health as well. There are some things now that have changed in hard drives since Drive Advisor was released. For example, solid-state hard drives that get full are much more likely to fail suddenly. So how full is your hard drive? We should be sending alerts to you based on just like those alerts I got from our server. You should get those alerts on your computer if your hard drive gets too full and you have a solid-state hard drive. So in order to send you an alert like that, what do we need to know about your computer? We need to know what kind of hard drive you're running, whether it's a solid-state or mechanical. We need to know not what your data is, but how much data there is. How full is it? What's the capacity of the drive? And what's the amount of data on the drive? Again, we don't care what your files are or what you're doing with your computer. Your privacy is your business. We're looking at aggregate numbers to determine, are you creating a health risk for your hard drive here by overfilling it, getting it over 80% full? We can send you alerts. Well, Alfonso's like, well, then, if we're going to collect the hard drive information, what about Memory Advisor? Like, why are we watching how much memory, if the computer is becoming dangerously low on memory, we can send an alert, like, hey, you might want to increase the amount of memory in your computer. Or better yet, because nobody really wants to get alerts about how much memory their computer has, perhaps we store that data so the next time they come in for a maintenance checkup, we say, 80% of the time your computer is running dangerously low on memory. Are you sure you don't want to increase that by 4 gigs while you have it in here? We have the free labor deal going on right now at Schrock for the whole month of January where you don't pay any labor. It's just the cost of the memory. Sure you don't want to do that while it's in here? So having that level of insight into your computer's needs, the way that you use your computer, again, not what you're doing with your computer. I want to be very clear, and we will be very clear in our privacy policy. We are not monitoring what you do with your computer. We don't look at your photos, we don't look at your documents, we don't record your keystrokes. All we're looking at are the technical specifications of the device that you are using for a few reasons. Number one, in the Schrock app, the way we're envisioning it, because see, Alfonso, he's thinking of all the things that we can do with this in order to improve the existing systems that we have at Schrock. And I'm like, Alfonso, if you don't give people a reason to install it, no one's going to install it, because everyone's going to say, wow, even though Thor seems really trustworthy, it's still potentially a spyware app, and if I don't get anything for installing it, why would I do that? Right? So, Alfonso, we need to take Drive Advisor and migrate it to the Schrock app. That's the first thing that needs to happen. Then I can say, don't run Drive Advisor anymore. There's a newer version of it called the Schrock app. You run that, and it runs Drive Advisor. Secure Updater will eventually be built into the Schrock app. You can choose whether or not you subscribe to Secure Updater, whether it's active or not, right? In the Schrock app, you will be able to see every work order you've ever had at Schrock without having to go to the Schrock website and logging in. You log in one time on the Schrock app, on that device, and you're logged in. So you can look at all your old work orders. You can see all of your subscriptions. Which of your computers has Sophos? Which has Secure Updater? Is Drive Advisor running on all your computers? All the things. What is the battery health? What is, how full is the hard drive? You basically, we take all this data that we're collecting and put it together into something that's useful for you as a consumer, and then display it for you in a centralized location in your Schrock account. So one person in the family can manage the entire family's technology picture. It's a really cool idea. But I was like, Alfonso, yes, we'll have perfect data on all of our customers. We'll know exactly when they walk. The idea here is when a customer walks in the front door, when they check in their computer, on the front desk, it'll put a pop-up there, and it will tell the person checking the computer in that these are the things this computer needs. This computer hasn't ever had a backup done. It needs a backup. This computer is running critically low on memory almost every day. It needs more memory. This computer's hard drive is 97.3% full and will fail in short order if we don't increase the size of the hard drive. They need a bigger hard drive. This computer is running an outdated version of Windows. It needs a new version of Windows installed. So literally, when you check in the computer, if you have the Schrock app, our system knows what you need before the technicians even look at it. So instead of us sending a work order back, okay, check it in for a maintenance checkup, they go in the back and they run all the tests on everything, and they record all the data, and they call you back and they say, okay, we found your hard drive is 97% full, blah, blah, blah. We know that going in. We don't have to run the test. We can just do the work. It is going to improve turnaround time. It's going to give you a more complete picture of your technology, of how it impacts you in your life, and allow you to prioritize the things that you think need to be fixed first. If you don't want to fix them all at once, which things should we do first? Let's make a plan. And then you can, if you say, you know what, I'm going to delete some files. I don't need to put a new hard drive in. Well, now you know that you need to be sensitive to what you're saving on your hard drive. So you can monitor it with the Schrock app. You can say, hey, send me an alert if it gets over this percentage. Maybe we even allow you to have custom alerts where you can set the alert. So yes, we know it's 20% is when we start freaking out, but maybe you're like, oh, those Schrock people, they don't, 10% is fine. Maybe you adjust the alerts so that you get alerts that are meaningful for you. We put this control back in your hands. So the objective is for us as a company to be able to provide more cost-effective, more complete service that addresses needs that maybe don't present themselves immediately at the front desk when you check it in for like a maintenance checkup. While at the same time, right now, for example, let me give you a great example. We don't have a mechanism in place. Let's say you have a computer with a Sophos subscription, and you choose to buy, you would never do this. You would never buy a computer somewhere else. But let's say for Christmas, somebody bought you a computer from somewhere else and gave it to you, and it was a really nice computer. And you're a fool to throw away a really nice computer. So you're going to use the computer. So you take your old computer and you close it, you put it in the closet, and it has an active Sophos subscription on it. And now you have your new computer with no antivirus on it whatsoever. We don't have a mechanism in place to say, you haven't turned on the computer with your Sophos subscription in the last 3 months. Do you have a new device you'd like to move that subscription to? So potentially unused subscriptions. And you know, if that subscription auto-renews, are we really doing you a favor by auto-renewing the subscription on the laptop in your closet? Yes, obviously we want to keep your subscription, but I want to keep your subscription on the device you're using. And a lot of people don't realize that we move subscriptions for free. So they don't call because they think it's going to cost them money to have it transferred, or I'll just wait till it renews, or you know what. No, you just call us. We move it for free. It's easy. So yeah, we don't have a mechanism in place to detect that for Secure Updater, for example. Or, you know, Drive Advisor, you know, this computer hasn't been turned on in, you know, however long. Drive Advisor will tell us that the computer, the last seen date of when it last saw your computer, but that's the last time Drive Advisor was run, not the last time the computer was turned on. So what if you wipe the whole computer? You know, it's like, at least then, if we send you an alert that says we haven't seen your computer in 3 months, you can say, oh yeah, I wiped it. Oh shoot, I have subscriptions? How do I reinstall those? Maybe we just put buttons that you can click to reinstall your subscriptions once you're logged into your Schrock account. So we can even introduce some self-serve options that we don't have available now. So there's a lot of different ways that we can use the information at our disposal and craft it in a way that makes your life better, and also makes us more efficient at providing these services to you. So that's the whole point of the Schrock app. That's coming in 2023. The outlines are already built from it. He has the whole app built. It just doesn't do anything. And he's like, we need to start installing this. We'll start collecting great data on all the computers so we have accurate data in our systems. I understand that, Alfonso. We need accurate data. I understand that. We can't do anything without accurate data. We have to give people a benefit for installing it. And so the benefit is we're going to roll all of our other tech platforms into this one app. Then we can take that one app and that one database and we can leverage it into a phone app as well. And then you can have the Schrock app on your phone where you're logged in. Oh, there's a maintenance checkup sale. I want to buy a certificate. You just open the Schrock app, buy your certificate. You don't have to go log in and remember your password and all that garbage. It's all saved. You did it one time. It's done. So those are all the benefits of what we're looking at doing going forward for the Schrock app. It's going to be cool stuff. I already told you about the server upgrade. The server upgrade had to happen because our server was running too slowly. It was running a version of PHP. See, I'm telling you, you could only run Windows 10 until 2025. Well, we hit the limit of how long we could run the version of PHP, the software that runs our server, the operating system for our server. It hit its limit and could not be upgraded further on the hardware we had. So very much like what happens with you in Windows 11, we had to buy a new server. We bought a new server, we move everything over to it, and the new server is a lot faster than the old server. Just like your new holiday special is a lot faster than your old computer. This is a lot faster. And so you're going to notice you can log in quicker, that when you do log in, page refreshes are happening faster because the server is processing things a lot more quickly. Also, probably one of the biggest and coolest things that we're doing in 2023, we are updating our computer specifications. So the names are all the same. We have on the desktop side, we have the Boundless, the Endeavor, and the Venture. And on the laptop side, we have the Resolute, the Intrepid, and the Gallant. All the names are the same. The specs on some of the units are changing. So on the desktop side, it's an across-the-board upgrade. So literally everything is moving down a step. So now the Venture has the same processor in it that the Holiday Special had, that Ryzen 7 5700G. The Endeavor, the mid-range, is now going to come with a Ryzen 5 instead of a Ryzen 3. And the Boundless, instead of that Celeron processor, is going to come with the Ryzen 3. Memory, well, we used to have our lower-end computer came with 4 gigs of memory. Windows 11 doesn't run very well on 4 gigs of memory. We had to stop and ask ourselves, like, we wouldn't do that to a friend, right? So why would we do that to a customer? So now the Boundless is going to come with 8 gigs of memory. The Endeavor, the mid-range computer, used to come with 8 gigs, is now going to come with 16, so we can differentiate the two. And then, of course, the big dog is going to come with 32, kind of like the Holiday Special. Do you see the trend here? So Those are, and oh, don't fear. Perhaps you're sitting there saying, "Of course, this is my life. I buy a computer from Schrock, and they change the specs the next day. I'm going to call them when they open at noon today. I'm going to call them and I'm going to demand my money back so I can return this computer and exchange it for one with the new specs." Well, guess what? We're a service company, so we thought of that. We changed the specs 3 months ago. So all of you people who bought computers who thought you were buying the Boundless with 4 gigs of memory got the Boundless with the Ryzen 3 and 8 gigs of memory. And all of you who thought you were buying a Venture that had a Ryzen 5 in it, you got the holiday special processor. Yeah. So congratulations, you all got upgrades for free. On the laptop side, we're a little more limited with what we can do because laptops be laptopping. The basic one is still going to come with 4 gigs of RAM because it's the cheap one. We don't recommend you buy it. We have to have the cheap one because that's what people see at Best Buy, and they come over and they say, "Where's your cheap one?" They don't say it like that. Where is your laptop under $600? It's right here. I wouldn't buy it. I'd spend $100 more and get that one. Oh, okay. Why? Let me tell you. But we have to have it to start the conversation. Don't buy it. Next line is the Intrepid. The Intrepid is going to stay pretty much the same. Nothing real changing with it. We're going to add a touch screen to it. So it's going to have a touch screen in 2023, whereas in previous years it did not have the touch screen. So it'll have a touch screen in 2023. The Gallant is going to get some significant upgrades. The Gallant is going to go up to 12 gigs of RAM from 8, so it's going to get an additional 4 gigs of RAM. And we're going to introduce a backup hard drive into the Gallant. When you have a Gallant, you'll have the primary hard drive and you'll have the internal safe and stored backup, just like the holiday special laptop. So that's going to be a big change there for the Gallant. So good news is, like I said, if you bought one, you've already got the changes. Everything is okay. You don't have to worry about it. But if you're looking forward in the future, if you're looking at the specs on our website and saying, "Gosh, these specs look a little dated, Schrock," well, the new catalogs are coming. We're updating the specs in the new catalogs. Once we have the new catalogs ready, and Alfonso is back, and he's caught up finally. Going to give him until at least Tuesday, and then we'll update all the specs on the website. So there you go, guys. Those are your 3 big news items from Schrock. And let me check to make sure I'm not missing out on any questions here. Oh, Donald Trump would have never made it as the speaker. The Republicans would have stopped him. And remember, it only takes 6 Republicans to stop a speaker nomination. So, I mean, you're going to find 6 Republicans. Mitt Romney. No, not Mitt Romney. Yeah, he can't do that. You're going to find 6 Republicans that are going to not want to have Trump and are going to vote against him. Let's see. Some Republicans are hidden Dems. No Dems are Republicans. The deep state establishment is really deep. Let's see. This is why I'm in favor of doing whatever it takes to drain the swamp. Yeah, that's the problem, though. You ever watch that show Oak Island? You know, where they're looking for the treasure they're supposedly under the earth there on Oak Island? And there's this big swamp, and they keep trying to drain the swamp and learn the secrets of the swamp, and the swamp always thwarts them in some way. Some unexpected, traumatic hurricane, problem, COVID, something happens that screws up and they can't drain the swamp. They built Washington, D.C. on a swamp. Somebody had a great sense of humor. And this is the other thing. Maybe this is me just getting older, and you can look at the individual situations and you can be disgusted by them. But you also have to sit back and you have to say, as shitty as the situation is sometimes, this is the single best form of government that the world has ever experienced. And this is still very much an experiment. In the grand scheme of things, a couple hundred years is nothing. In the history of France, 200 years is nothing. In the history of England, 200 years of history is nothing. Every single day that we do something different, we write history in America. We're making history every single day. And it doesn't feel like that on a day like when you're electing the speaker. You're making history that day. It doesn't seem like World War III started last February, but it probably did. Oh, whoops, did I say that out loud? That's the quiet part. Darn it. Oh yeah, watch this Belarus thing, guys. This is not looking good for the spring. Like after the winter is over, there are rumors that Russia's going to be calling up another 500,000 troops. They say they've deployed about 50% of the 300,000 they've called up so far. Ukraine is taking back swaths of territory on counteroffensive, but if you've read any military history, counteroffensives stop for logistics reasons usually. Like you get stretched to the point where you've taken what you can hold. And obviously the Ukrainian army couldn't hold the territory to begin with. So yeah, they want to take back all the territory. They want to take back more than they were holding in the beginning. And if a second front is opened from the north, while the Ukrainian military is fully engaged in the south and the east, that could be bad. That could be real bad. But luckily, I don't think they're idiots, so they're probably aware of the situation. But yeah, this is not over by any means. And I think we have a very interesting year in front of us. And like I said, every day we're making history. Every single day. So, what was it? Oh, golly, I was trying to... my dad was alive when the United States left the gold standard. There are entire generations of people, including myself, that were never alive to see the gold standard. It's been gone for, 70 to 30, 50 something years? So 50 years. 1/4 of the existence of the United States. 75% of the existence of the United States, we had a gold standard. What's to say it couldn't come back? Or some variation of it? Or some new application of it? Why are central banks buying gold at such a dramatic clip all of a sudden? Interesting. Interesting. Writing history every single day. All right, guys, got to roll. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you being here, and we'll see you again next weekend for another edition of Compute This.